The innovative and ambitious SpaceX has succeeded in becoming one of the best in the aerospace industry. One of the reasons for its success is its reducing space transportation costs, which won the company several contracts from NASA, as well as U.S. Air Force and U.S. Department of Defense. SpaceX has been working with NASA since 2006, when the space agency paid the company $396 million for Commercial Orbital Transportation Services Phase 1 contract to demonstrate cargo delivery to the International Space Station. Recently, it has been reported that NASA plans to use SpaceX's services for something big. In this video, we'll talk about the new space plans between SpaceX and NASA. Make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video to know what these plans are. But before we begin, welcome to Discover Space. If you want to be a part of our space journey, don't forget to click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell next to it to be the first to know whenever we update a new video. In 2006, NASA awarded SpaceX the Commercial Orbital Transportation Services Phase 1 contract to demonstrate cargo delivery to the International Space Station, with a possible contract option for crew transport. In 2008, NASA also awarded $1.6 billion to SpaceX for 12 cargo transport missions to the International Space Station, covering deliveries to 2016 as part of the Commercial Resupply Service contracts, which were later extended from 12 cargoes to 20 cargoes. The first of the 20 planned resupply missions was launched in October 2012, and the final mission was launched in April 2020. Also, SpaceX was awarded 9 additional flights as part of the second phase of the Commercial Orbital Transportation Services in January 2016. In March 2020, NASA contracted SpaceX to develop the Dragon XL spacecraft to send supplies to the Lunar Gateway space station. SpaceX is not just responsible for the transportation of NASA's cargoes, but also its astronauts to and from the ISS. In 2011, SpaceX was awarded the first contract for developing commercially operated spacecraft capable of delivering astronauts to the ISS as part of the Commercial Crew Development Program, followed by another in 2012. In September 2014, SpaceX was awarded $2.6 billion to complete and certify Dragon 2 by 2017 to develop systems to transport U.S. crews to and from the ISS. After completion, the Crew 1 mission was successfully launched to the International Space Station on November 16, 2020, and as of now, Crew 4 is now in space. Crew 5 will launch in September, and Crew 6 will launch in the spring of 2023. The agency also contracted SpaceX for 3 more astronaut trips with SpaceX because of being the only American company currently operating a system that transports NASA astronauts to and from the International Space Station. The $3.5 billion contract for 3 more astronaut trips was extended to include 5 additional flights. After Crew 9, if the newly acquired 5 flights are flown in order, the contract adjustment would get SpaceX to Crew 14. What SpaceX has accomplished since its founding is incredible. However, what is most astonishing is its plan to visit the moon and establish a base there alongside NASA. So, after almost 50 years, NASA is going back to the moon, and this time, they intend to stay. NASA plans to send and establish a permanent human presence on the moon's surface, and this plan is known as the Artemis program. The program is named after the Greek goddess of the moon. It's a way for NASA to show appreciation for the Apollo missions that landed the first man on the moon, as Artemis was the twin sister to Apollo. The program's main attraction is the Artemis program, which will be built close to the moon's south pole. This is a part of NASA's plan to establish a base for future manned and robotic deep space missions on the moon. Additionally, the Artemis base camp will be a crucial component of NASA and SpaceX's manned Mars expedition. Humans are set to make their first return to the moon in 2024. NASA awarded a $2.89 billion contract to SpaceX to create and produce a modified version of the Starship for lunar landings. The project's initial objective is to carry out 2 flights, an unmanned demonstration mission and a basic lunar landing. Astronauts will be transferred from the Lunar Orbital Gateway to the base camp on the surface by SpaceX. This will be accomplished by using a Starship HLS lunar lander variant of SpaceX's Starship rocket. HLS is the Human Land System. The Starship is the company's signature rocket and will be driving the charge towards Mars. In keeping a human moon landing in mind, this Starship has been modified. The primary difference between the standard Starship design and the Starship HLS is the absence of air brakes and heat shields. This is because the moon lacks an atmosphere that would heat the Starship HLS during landing. Starship HLS is also installed with a special landing thruster that will be used during descent and takeoff from the lunar surface. The Starship HLS is supposed to launch from Earth using the extremely heavy rockets. In roughly 3 days, the Starship HLS will launch lunar orbit. The Starship will then simply wait for its astronaut crew in orbit after that. The 4 astronauts will make the trip from Earth to lunar orbit on NASA's Orion spacecraft. The Starship HLS will serve as a ferry between lunar orbit and the lunar surface. It is designed to make several trips, carrying astronauts from the Lunar Gateway orbital station. In order to take on passengers before descending to the lunar surface, Starship HLS is planned to dock in lunar orbit with either the NASA Orion spacecraft or NASA Lunar Gateway space station. 2 astronauts will remain aboard the Lunar Gateway for its first mission, and 2 astronauts will ride the Starship HLS as it descends the lunar gravity well towards the surface. It is intended for the first lunar surface mission to last a week while doing research and exploring the lunar surface. During this voyage, they will be residing aboard the Starship HLS. The remaining members of the crew that remained aboard the Lunar Gateway in orbit will be reunited with the surface astronauts after 2 weeks. The Shackleton crater, which lies close to the moon's south pole, is where the Artemis base camp will be eventually built. Shackleton crater is a highly special place since the interior of the crater is always under shadow, while the peaks surrounding its rim are mostly always exposed to sunlight. In that area, frozen water pockets have been found by NASA. Shackleton crater meets NASA's requirements for the ideal location for a base camp. The most crucial factors that NASA considers when selecting a site are these 2 main characteristics. The site must have easy access to areas of total darkness that contain water ice and bask in near continuous sunlight to power the base and moderate excessive temperature swings. The Artemis base camp will be more able to sustain itself if it has access to ice. The Artemis Space Camp will be a habitat on the surface of the moon that could house 4 astronauts. The base camp's highest priority is providing life support. The facility will need a landing pad, radiation shielding, and infrastructure for communications, waste disposal, and power. The Artemis base camp's location will be on the Earth's facing side of the moon, making it easier for engineers to communicate with astronauts working on the moon using radio waves. A lunar terrain vehicle that will help humans in navigating the lunar surface, and a habitable mobility platform that might allow travels away from the base for up to 45 days are 2 mobility systems that are planned to support Artemis Base Camp. For NASA to use the moon colony to its maximum potential, mobility is a key concern. The Artemis Base Camp places a lot of emphasis on mobility. The moon will require advanced mobility systems to be explored and developed. A hopper that may transport scientific and technological payloads all around the moon will eventually be a part of Artemis Base Camp as well. The crew in Artemis Base Camp will control it, and local propellant will be used for refueling. As a type of backyard radio telescope for Artemis Base Camp, NASA also intends to build a lunar far-side radio telescope that could be remotely deployed and managed from Artemis Base Camp. This moon base will act as a proof of concept for the development of sustainable outposts on the furthest reaches of space. Also, future Mars colonization efforts could be aided by the technology and advances that Artemis Base Camp will directly support. This certainly is a serious step towards exploring the unexplored. That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like the video. Also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to never miss a new video. Also, let us know what you think about the lunar base camps in the comments section down below. Until next time.